Streaming live through the internet airwaves on your phone, tablet, or computer on Facebook Live and YouTube. It's time for The Dallas Prospect. Every legend was once a prospect. Here are your hosts, Law Nation, Silver and Blue Nation's Big Game James, and Derek Diamond Dallas Prospect.
Yeah, my dog.
And that came in hot, didn't it?
I don't care. I mean, y'all sounded good, but he said it for Silver and Blue Big Game James. That sounded hot.
Yes, indeed. It
Sounded hot.
was almost better than wet sex.
Stop it.
Law, you're going against your own PG-13 here.
There it goes.
Oh man, gloves off. I got the yak. I want everybody to put their babies to bed.
Put on the bed, put them to sleep. When you come with an intro like that, that's already flame on.
Mm-hmm. Yoga flame.
Flame on.
Yoga flame.
Yoga fire.
And that's what he was saying. I'm saying flame. We everywhere.
He said it too. He said yo got fire, then yo got flame.
For those who don't know, that's one of the best games ever. Next to, what is it? Motor Comeback or Killer Instincts? Which one is better?
I don't know. I think Killer Instinct is better because I just love some Killer Instinct.
Ultra.
The mighty Zerifig. The mighty Zerifig.
Hey, speaking of fighting, man, what up with this Coney Ely, man? What's your thoughts on that guy?
I mean, I liked him. I liked him when he was at Missouri. I liked him when he came in the league. He was always like a pass rush specialist to me. Not somebody that was just going to just dominate games, but that was a guy that could come in on them third downs when you needed a big sack, and he did it. You saw when he was with the Carolina Panthers, he was just really wrecking shop all the way through the playoffs, through the Super Bowl. And,
right.
We had an opportunity to possibly get him, and he went over to the Jets. But the fact that, he came and he left, that doesn't mean anything. I still have hope because Alan Hearns came and left and came back. So I can look at some hope that Ely, G said it. He said the facilities, and Hearns came out and said the facilities. And I said, I don't think it's all that. But guess what? He said it was some facilities, and maybe he'll look at that too and be like, you know what? This is the Cowboys. Man, I want to play here.
If I'm Cone, I'm sitting there looking at Rob Marinelli, and I'm sitting here like, man, give me a chance to prove who I am. You know what I mean? Rob Marinelli is a beast out there with that front four. So
what up, Ron? I got to shout out to my people, Mama T. I'm sorry I didn't cut you off, Ron.
No.
Do your thing. I just had to give him a little shout out. Stay in the house. What's up? All the Silver and Blue Nation faithfuls.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee out there, Coffee. Shout out to you. I don't know, Jack is there. Rachel there. I see you out there. Salute.
We got Corey Jackson in chat over here, and Cowboys Nation 777 as well.
Mm-hmm. So DDP, man, what you think on this Cone Ely?
Man, he's an athletic freak, no doubt. I mean, he's capable of taking over to a certain extent. I did watch your film breakdown you put out on him as well. I think that's really telling. The Patriots, they actually cut him last season, and the Cowboys put in a waiver for him, but the Jets had the higher priority, and so they snatched him up. They still want him back, so that's, I think, going to be a real concern there as far as money. I think they might be more willing to throw a bigger contract his way than Dallas can. But at the same time, I agree that I think he would be a great fit here. Marinelli would be a great coach for him. And, man, the Jets, I don't think the Jets' defensive line, at least right now, is at the same level as the Cowboys one. I mean, if you're actually returning Irving, then you have DeMarcus Lawrence, Irving, and you add a guy like Coney Ely to that. That can be a wrecking crew, not to mention all the other rotational defensive linemen they have that can contribute as well. I would love for them to pick him up, and I think that then makes at least the need for a defensive end in the draft a little less as well, and that allows you to focus on some other needs.
No doubt, man. Yeah, that's a good strategy.
Breakdown.
Hell yeah, What's your thoughts, man? Again,
he all in the zone. It's that damn name.
Yes, indeed. Producer, man, G, I know you're in the cut somewhere, man. Are you able to speak on this, Cone? I don't think he is.
He
But
said, hell no.
hell nah. But hey, man, you guys seeing this whole platform, y'all see everything. I'm talking about the baddest, one of the greatest out here of all time. I'm talking about Producer G, man. He got everything set up for us, man, making us look good out here. So shout out to Producer G, man, the
Yes, sir.
greatest. Yes, sir.
He's
So
Voltron.
so what my final thoughts is on Cone Ely would be the fact that yeah, he is explosive. Yes, he do have more interceptions than Mo Claiborne, believe it or not, in the last 3 years. And also with that too as well. My only reservation is him against a double team. But guess what? He's on the opposite side of D Law if they decided to select him. And my thing is, come on, stop playing with it. Go ahead and jump on the team, Cone, because you really can't go nowhere else because they're going to look at the fact that you've been on all these other teams. So let's just go ahead and sign up with the greatest, the baddest, one of the best defensive front coaches out there, and that's Rob Marinelli. Go ahead and get your money. Go ahead and get your time out here to shine with that silver and blue on, as we always say, nation.
Yes,
Don't
all
put that
day.
star on the side. You know
All
what
day.
I mean?
All day. And I mean, if you really look at it, and if you really think about it, I agree with you 100%, Law. I mean, where are you really going to go? You're out. I mean, you play with a few teams already. You're older in the tooth now. Now you're not super old, but you're older now. So why not come over with the Cowboys? It's not like you won't come over and prosper. It's not like you won't get a chance. It's not like if you come in and put in work, you will get in that lineup. You will play a lot. So why not? It's an opportunity. You playing with the Cowboys. Hey, yeah, you playing with Marinelli. It's the right thing to do. I feel like this is just the right thing to do. We covered him the year before. He's come back again. You can't come back twice and not sign. So just bring your butt, sign the papers, and get on in that field and let's do work.
No doubt, no doubt. Coney Ely is 26 years old, so he should be right about hitting his prime now. So
let's do the damn thing.
Love that, love that.
Hey, in the chat box, man, my Cowboys family, don't forget to follow them too as well. They
Yes,
said
sir.
if we cut Crawford, we get 6.5 mil if you make a June 1st cut. So post June 1st, I meant to say. Any thoughts on that?
Nobody's mad at that. I mean, there's who's going to sit there and say, no, don't do that. There's not one person that's going to say don't cut Tyrone Crawford. Because, you know, like I said, it's Dallas's fault because they kept switching him back and forth and they paid him based on potential. You know, he blew his Achilles out the one year and he came back and they paid him on potential because how he looked when at the 3 tech when he got that 4.5 sacks. They paid him on potential. He didn't move that way because they kept moving him back and forth. Now, I'm going to say it once again, I beat the dead horse. The Brandon Carr effect is full effect. The dude is making $9-10 million a year, so you stare at Tyrone Crawford now. You don't look at anything else. Whenever he's on the field and he doesn't do nothing, what's the first thing that comes in your head? $10 million. So if you cut him, nobody's going to be mad, but he hangs on because everybody in that facility likes him. A lot of people like Tyrone Crawford in that facility. That's why he's been a captain. They do. So that's why I don't see them jumping to cut him. But you never know with Stephen Jones now.
Yeah, you're saying the truth there. What are your thoughts, DDP?
Man, I agree that I think it would make sense to cut him and open up some salary.
What up,
but
Raymond?
at the same time, we're talking about a guy who doesn't jump off the page. And I think at the same time, because they like him so much within the organization, I think that they're going to at least, what's he got on his contract? 1 year, 2? I guess that's my thing to look up, I guess.
I think this is after this year, he's kind of like in the Dez Bryant situation. You can kind of get rid of him, and it's not going to hurt anything after that. So you can keep him 1 more year if you chose to, and it would be okay. But like you said, if you did the Dez Bryant thing and cut him, you would save, quite a bit of chunk of money.
Yeah, man, we got him until 2020 as far as contract goes. So that's worse than I thought. I thought he had maybe 2 years, including this year. So, yeah, I'm curious to see there and analyze what the dead money situation is. If we did it this year, dead cap 7.3, 2019 4.2. So, yeah, it gets progressively less harmful in that regard. So, I think they're going to give him a year. Whether I think they necessarily should, I don't know. But I think they're going to give him at least 1 more year. And, who knows? Maybe finally there's going to be so much depth on this line, especially if they get Ely, that he will be able to shine through a little bit more. Who knows? Because they won't need to move him as much, right?
Right. I agree. Hey, let me give just a quick shout out to everybody that's been on the page: Dana, Raymond, Ron, Annette, Josh, Brittany Carr. We got some new people up in the fight. We got like 20 in the box. So just what's up to everybody. Eddie Ford Jr. Just try to give a shout outs to everybody that's tuning in. We appreciate y'all coming in on the late night, listening to the new A-Team. Please don't hit me with the the copyright thing, but it's just like it really is like the new A-Team. So y'all really just better jump on this real quick, baby.
Yeah, man. I got Buddy Johnson here, Coach Jay, giving you a what's up.
You know what it is. You know them coaching days. Coach Jay had us getting dubs. You know it. We ain't lose games.
Yup. Got all your latest breakdowns for both you guys actually on the website now. The Dallas Prospect for those in the chat box, hint.
Yes, and go check that check those articles. It ain't just Cowboys. I mean, it's everything. It's basketball. It's Dallas Mavericks. It's movies. It's everything. You need to get on that page and check it out. It's just not one thing, and that's what people need to see. We're talking about the Cowboys right now, but it's versatile out there, and we're gonna be doing a lot of things. So y'all need to jump on that prospect page and check a lot of things out because it's just not football that we was discussing and talking about. We got a lot of talented people that are coming to the forefront. So please get up on this A-Team thing. Get on Silver and Blue Nation, Law Nation, Dallas Prospects, Big Game James. You better holler at this because this stuff about to flame on, blow up. That's what I'm talking about right now. Sorry.
No doubt. People are starting to catch on to what we've kind of known for a little while now. Definitely had a resurgence as far as traffic on the site just since we launched this newest design this past weekend. And we've also had about five or six different people step forward
it's been going in contributing. Nuts. It's been going nuts. I've been seeing it.
Yeah, just interested in contributing, and that's awesome. I mean, we got people wanting to cover sports, pop culture, everything. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we need for this thing to really take off and get big. So, yeah. Let's see here. Law, you checked out the new site lately? Put you on the spot. Oh no! Did we lose Law?
Where'd he go?
All right.
I'm still here, man. I'm still in the flash, man. I had to step away for a second.
There you go.
All right.
He just asked you what you thought about the site. Is it flame on?
Yeah, man. New design.
Man, the site live like 95, man. That's what the site is, man. You guys go and check it out, man. That's real talk.
No doubt.
I'm back, man. Had to take that hat off, man. I was sweating up under here, man. Shit. I'm sweating and the light beaming on my face, man. I said, man, let me take this hat off. That means just how hot the Cowboys going to be this year. Going to be flaming hot.
Hey,
but
let me ask y'all a question real quick. Since you threw out the Coach Jay, we were probably going to discuss it. I brought out that kid, Saron Neal. I want to ask y'all questions about him. I actually, a friend of mine named Marcus Smith, we chopped it up, and he told me about him. And then I looked at his tape, and that's one of the tape I saw. And then he played in the Senior Bowl. He was mugging them receivers. He had a couple of possessions where he mugged James Washington, put him on the ground. Very physical cornerback. He played linebacker in 2016, had 80 tackles. He switched to press corner the next year, had 39 tackles, 11 pass breakups, which was a team high, and he played high safety. You know what I'm saying? He played a strong safety. So just looking at the tape, and if y'all check him out, what do y'all think about him? I think he could be a player that you really could be somebody.
Dude, I loved everything I saw on that film breakdown. I think that might have been your best Coach Jay's film session yet. Coach Jay's film day, I should say. I love finding guys that definitely look like they could be a steal, guys that aren't as highly talked about for sure, but because you can see just the tools and everything there that the guy has and the physical traits, and it really paints the picture for you as to whether or not they can translate. And I definitely see it. The guy's a little raw, but I definitely think he could end up being a massive steal, especially if you're willing to give him a year or so not to be thrown just straight into the fire.
Right.
Yeah, if you give it a little bit more time, man, he one of those guys that be like, where he come from? Remember the Dallas Cowboys picked him up and they showed out what he can do, and it seemed like a Will McClay move too as well.
Yeah, and if you look at, I had one play where he was a gunner on the punt return and he went straight down like a bat out of hell and blew that dude up. That's going to get you. Dallas Cowboys love that. And like I said, if you looked at how Xavier Woods played last year, I thought he was going to play straight safety. He was playing in that slot a lot last year. And so that's what, the Cowboys love versatility. And I think that's what stood out to me is, the Cowboys love guys that can play different positions and they can't be pigeonholed in one thing. So I think that's why it could be a good chance if he's hanging around in those later rounds. Cowboys need to go scoop him for real.
No doubt, man. Most certainly.
Let's see,
all right.
So
I got some people ask. I got some people ask some questions. I'm gonna throw them out there to y'all.
Go for it, man.
All right. So I got some people. Josh Snyder asked about Randy Gregory. Thoughts?
Man, I'm tired of it, man. I just want to be able to see it out there in the field. Seeing is believing with me. I'm like doubting Thomas. I want to touch and physically see him out there on the field. If not, then it's just more propaganda. I want to see him out there on the field come hell and high water. So he better do something this year. I don't want to hear none of this talking about it. I want to see results. No reasonings, just results.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get my hopes up with Randy Gregory until he's reinstated. I have almost just completely removed myself from those discussions, just because I don't want to be hurt again. It's too real. So until he's reinstated, I'm just gonna, what's the word, refrain, I guess, from putting my voice on that.
Exactly. I got one question. A lot of people have been talking in the box. Since we had the free agent signings or the people that have come in, a lot of people are wondering, like, what's our biggest need right now? We've had a few players that have been coming in. Vander Esch from Boise State.
Yep.
They've been talking about Rashaan Evans, that 19, that those could be players that we could be picking up. It's along with receiver, Cortland Sutton. That's been the big thing because Garrett went out there and seen him personally. Now he's been everywhere on NFL Access, and now it's looking like he's getting pumped up. What do y'all think about looking at 19? Are we going to go linebacker, defensive tackle? Vita Vea came in. What do y'all think we really going to go with? I'm asking you.
Man, they got a thing for Boise State right now, don't they?
Man, they got like
that.
6 players from
there. Yeah, that's their thing. That's their jam. So Vander Esch is there. I could certainly see that happening. I wouldn't hate it.
That's a reach. That's a reach to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't make me excited, but at the same time, I definitely think linebacker is what they need to look at. What was the other name you said as well?
Rashaan Evans from Alabama. We haven't got an Alabama player in how long?
Yeah,
I mean, you can't really count
McLean.
I'm talking about drafting. What's the last Alabama player we drafted?
Been forever in the day.
I would take Rashaan Evans for sure of those two. But I'm saying I think they got a thing for Boise State.
Man, what about you, Law?
Look, I don't want no other Boise State person, man. I hate to say it, man. Who it is? Scandrick and
Tyrone Crawford, Lawrence, Kellen Moore.
Now DeMarcus Lawrence came up.
We can't count Kellen Moore if we can't.
He came from Boise State. So he's gonna get counted.
Yeah, but you wouldn't let us.
He was on the damn team. He getting counted.
Yeah, but you didn't let us count Rolando McClain for Alabama.
Okay, but he on that damn team.
Man, just give me somebody that I know that compete and with a better coach, and give me the Evans kid if he's on the fray. Give me that guy. I know for sure that he's well coached. And a lot of times when people get Alabama players, a lot of people say, well, they already at their ceiling. Hell, give me that ceiling, because all we need now is a few guys to sprinkle on this defense. And maybe we get 1 or 2 explosive guys on the offense. And hell, we in the playoff, regardless of what everybody else thinks.
I don't think you're going to say C.J. Mosley is his ceiling. He came from Alabama. He's a pretty damn good linebacker with the Baltimore Ravens. So you can't say he's his ceiling.
What I'm saying is,
I feel you. No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, people say that. Then I can point to plenty Alabama players where you're saying it gets a bias. Like it's kind of sad. You get a couple Alabama players that haven't did something, and then you want to try to lump them, or just people hate Nick Saban. That's what I think it really comes down to. People don't like Nick Saban. They don't like his cockiness or whatever. So any Alabama player, they try to put him at a higher stature. So if any Alabama player that plays doesn't come out blowing it up, Alabama players suck because you hate Nick Saban. Just stop hating on Saban because he keep coming over there winning championships. That's why you're mad.
Count them rings
and stop the hate, and that's why you hate on Alabama players. There's plenty of Alabama players in the NFL that are succeeding and doing very well.
Yeah. And expectation-wise, I know I see a lot of people talking about Hernandez and Derwin James. Those are all lofty goals. You know, those are lofty draft pick. We got to get realistic with the 19th pick. But go ahead, DDP.
I was just going to say, I was going to comment on the Nick Saban thing. They especially hate him down in Miami where he walked out mid-season, if you recall.
Yeah, killed their hearts, so you know that up there.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of, I'm hoping I don't butcher this name, Nyheim Hines, the running back out of NC State?
I'd like to jump on that real quick because he was the only running back. He's the only running back that they brought in, I believe, as those of the 30 invitees. I actually seen, I posted on Twitter. I seen him on Twitter, and they were showing all his touchdowns, I believe, from last year. I don't know if it was a combination of all his, but I think it was from last year. That dude's got wheels. He ran a 4.43, and he has wheels. And you could just see him backing up Ezekiel Elliott. I got excited because that dude, when he gets in that open field, he is gone. And could you imagine us going in a set where you got Ezekiel Elliott and him on the outside, and then you got your receivers on the outside? Who you guarding? Who you gonna guard? And you still got a quarterback. As much as people try to hate on that, you got a guy that can run and pass. So who are you really trying to guard? And it makes it just a more quote unquote Dak friendly offense.
Yo, the real question there is, does this coaching staff have the offensive creativity to just use them like you said?
That's the dun.
Yeah.
The only person
get excited. This offense is ages 4 and up.
Hey, I said this before. The only person who could stop Zeke during that Green Bay game was Scott Linehan. And I'm talking about he put some defensive pressure on Zeke, right? You know what I mean? It's one of those things where the coaching staff, I don't know if they would know what to do with him, but not to sully or denigrate Scott, because we just really never know who's really behind the operations. Is it Jason Garrett? You know, is it Jerry Jones calling down from the booth saying, hey, I want Dez Bryant to catch this touchdown pass, regardless of where you guys are at the one, force the ball to him? I don't know. You know, Dallas Cowboys try sometimes too much to get cute. And I'm telling you, you can't win in this league getting cute. Right now, they have the pedigree right now. They have Ezekiel Elliott. They got Rod Smith, Jamez Olawale, however you want to call his name. They got some powerful running backs that they can just tear up the league if they want to. Right now, they got the ability to say, hey, we're going to play some smash mouth football. We're going to line them up. We're going to put our man against your man, and we're just going to run up the gut. We're not going to get cute. We're not going to get too sexy out there. We're just going to run it right up your gut, and we're going to see what's going to happen at the end of the fourth quarters. But we just don't do it.
But can you imagine if we got that Hines kid, right, and the coaching staff actually did know what to do with him, and you've seen Ezekiel Elliott, 2 of the longest passes from Dak Prescott have been Ezekiel Elliott on screen passes. Could you imagine seeing that little dump pass over to Hines and letting that little dude get out there and skirt? Now that changes the whole game, and then we come back with a couple run plays with Ezekiel Elliott. Now we're killing you. Now you hit him with a play action, and then you go deep, and that's how you destroy and kill teams, because now you're multifaceted, and they don't know what you're going to do. That's what became our problems, because when we came to the line of scrimmage, if the fans know what the hell you're doing every play. If I see freaking what's his name? Noah Brown. If I see Noah Brown go in freaking motion and I know that play, that's not good. If I know that play, when I see Noah Brown moving in motion, I know that damn play and I know where you're going, then these damn coordinators know that's just not good football, man. That's got to change, and it better change this year.
No doubt. Well, the biggest thing the offense has kind of lacked is explosive offensive players as well. Zeke is really the only thing they've had that's still explosive. Dez, he can be from time to time, but whether it's, kind of the play calling, whether it's Dak, whether it's some combination of everything or Dez losing a step, whatever, he's not as reliable in that department. So getting a couple options in that regard like Allen Hurns, although Hurns isn't blazing speed, I do see big playability with him, just because he can play out of the slot or on the outside. And yeah, if you add in like Hines, then no doubt you're creating a nightmare for opposing defenses to deal with. You could also do that by potentially adding another wide receiver, which Dallas really seems interested in doing. Of their 30 visits, they've taken visits with several top wide receiver prospects, and most notably I thought was interesting was Jason Garrett actually flat out attending, being the only NFL head coach to attend Cortland Sutton's workout at SMU.
I mean, Cortland Sutton, man. Now, one can argue and say, hey, he's a poor man's T.O. at this point. One can also say that he's going to be a bigger, faster, pretty much Dez Bryant. Somebody can say that, because he is like 6'4", 6'5". And the thing is, too, as well, if you go back to history, you always can see that the Dallas Cowboys are going to draft somebody from these visits. And then on top of that, they get an extra plethora of picks from the Dallas draft day coming out Friday. They're going to be able to bring them up too as well, people that's played in Texas and things of that ilk. So I'm really thinking that maybe this is just my reasoning. I'm not saying you get rid of Dez Bryant, so hush. I want all of the Dez Bryant's apologists to hush. But this is maybe the scenario. If the Dallas Cowboys come out of this draft with a wide receiver, the first thing they're going to do is say, hey, Dez, come to my office. And they're going to say, hey, we got this wide receiver that's in room, but what we really need for you to do is take a pay cut. And regardless of whether he say, I'm going to take the pay cut or I'm not going to take the pay cut, then you guys might see him get cut. And by cutting Dez Bryant, and I'm not saying that I'm advocating for them to cut Dez Bryant, because this is year 3 with him and Dak Prescott. And shout out to the hater who said Dak Prescott sucks. Shout out to you for that, because I'm gonna come back to you, and I'm gonna curate every video I can find, because I guarantee you, this guy, I done seen him at Mississippi State. This guy improved year to year. Yeah, they piggyback haters for the simple fact.
They don't have
I done seen Cowboys fans say they would rather for Dak Prescott to lose just so they can prove their point. But neither here nor there. Let me get back on the topic. The fact of the matter is, now, I'm not hating on Dez. So what I'm saying is they're going to come up here because this is a business. They're going to say, hey, bro, look, right now we need money so we can stretch out and help this defense. And what we can do is you can take a pay cut. With that pay cut, we can extend and get something going. And with my ration and with my notion too as well, hey, deadline make deals. So through this draft too as well, they might come to Seattle Seahawks and say, hey, man, come on, you're going to get rid of Earl Thomas anyway. Why not get this third round pick from us right now when we take care of that $10 million? You see what I'm saying? And have Dez Bryant and have Earl Thomas in the loop, and then have the provisionings already set in place to say, hey, okay, if Dez Bryant do not or will not take this cut, then we cut him, and then we have an additional $8 million that we can just play with and throw out to some more players out there. That's just my thought, because at the end of the day, you don't bring in these many wide receivers and not thinking to get one of them. And you can't have everybody run routes.
Absolutely. And some people have kind of speculated like, oh, it's just trying to get more leverage against Dez as far as pushing for that pay cut. You don't waste a limited number of visits on this many wide receivers if you're just pushing for leverage and you don't even really necessarily expect to take one of them. I think they're going to take a wide receiver somewhere in rounds 1 through 3. I think it's just a matter of who falls to them where and how they assess what's on the table at that point.
Well, yeah. I mean, with the Cortland Sutton, to me, he's the ultimate boom or bust prospect. I keep on going back to the Laquan Treadwell comparison. Everybody was hyping him when he came out of Ole Miss, I believe. I think it was Ole Miss when he came out. Everybody was saying, he could be that guy. He's going to be the next dude. And basically, he ain't did jack poo in the NFL. So, to me, that's what Sutton is. He's the ultimate boomer bust. I hope they don't go out there and reach for him in no 19th pick. If they do that, I'm going to be mad as hell. Later rounds, yes. Like I said, I want to go receiver in the 4th round because I still feel like we need that defensive tackle. We need a linebacker. We need a safety. Anybody who's sitting there thinking just because we played good last year toward the end of the year and we had the 8th rank or so defense, we still got a lot of holes. We still got a lot of things we need to plug and take care on that defense. And we need to solidify that defense more than anything. The offense is going to come. We can get receivers. It's a very deep draft for receivers, and there's no standout type ones. So you can make it and get a couple guys. Get that defense and don't sit out there and jump out there and go get that Sutton. Just like you said, if they go visit him, they're probably going to grab him. Just you better not grab him at 19 or I'm going to be one to smack some fools.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I don't want them taking a receiver at 1. I could see back in the day maybe Jerry being tempted enough to try and take that because he always likes the splash or flashy player, really. But I don't think that's so much the problem these days. I think, obviously, whether it's the Steven ripping the Johnny Manziel card out of Jerry's hands or whatever to take. Who is that? That was Zach Martin they took in that case.
Right.
Yeah, so I think they're a little more level-headed here. I expect them to look receiver 2 or 3 is my guess. But they could conceivably give into that in the first round, possibly, although I would hate that. If
they drafted a receiver first round, that's telling me Dez not going to be there.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's what that tells me because there's no reason why you get a receiver in the first round and then he don't sit behind the bench. He's got to play. 19th,
yep.
Right. You just signed Allen Hurts. Dez is gone. If I see a receiver in the first round, Dez Bryant to me is gone.
Mm-hmm. And this is no fire spitting at Dez. But shout out to Kofri for making a donation to help grow the nation.
Yes.
He says, donation. He said, what are your opinions on Antonio Callaway? Could we be interested in him from Florida? Any thoughts on that big game?
I mean, the kid is nice. I mean, he's got a really good pedigree. Has had a little bit of trouble in his career. I think that's the only thing that kind of scares me because the only thing I worry about is because I just doesn't seem like we have the type of environment to get those kids that have trouble and they produce and do good with us. That's the only reason why I shy away. I mean, I like another kid from Texas, Holton Hill. He's a nice cornerback, but he had issues. I would love for the Cowboys to get him because he would be a great addition, but I worry because you had marijuana issues at Texas. So I don't want you to come to the Cowboys because that seems like that's been a prevalent problem with the Cowboys. So are you going to fall into that type of thing and next thing you know, be suspended? So I love talent, but it's kind of like I get leery of talented guys that have problems that come into the Cowboys because it just looks like they don't get it together and succeed.
Agreed.
Yeah, sound like Arden Key and with the second round or something, Cowboys make those type of deals,
So right. I got a slight pivot here from offense to defense. What do you guys think impact-wise we can expect from Charles Tapper? James, I'll let you go first. You just wrote up the article on him on the site.
Now or never. Charles Tapper, I called him the junkyard dog. He looked like the junkyard dog, big scruffy beard looking all crazy. That's why I said he should be that wild. He looked like that wild type guy. To me, it's a now or never because this is 2 straight years. You've only played in 1 regular season game in 2 years. If let's say Randy Gregory does come back, you got Crawford as of right now. You got DeMarcus Lawrence, Tyron Crawford, Randy Gregory, and then Taco Charlton, and then you got to throw Charles Tapper in the loop. You're probably going to get another defensive end, and if they get Ely, and they're probably still going to draft another defensive end, that puts an onus on him to do something. If he gets hurt again, he's not guaranteed a roster spot. To me, in my eyes, he's a 4th-round pick, 3 years hurt. I wouldn't keep him on the roster, but the thing what would frustrate me is if he gets cut, if he's hurt, he goes to another team and shows out. That's what's going to really piss me off because it seems like Cowboy players get hurt with us. They leave us, go play with a different team, and they play good. It pisses me off. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Hey, it's one of those things, man. Look, I put him in the same boat with Randy Gregory, and things we all have reasonings, but like I said, I'm gonna go back to results. Results is what mattered. We drafted a guy in the 4th round. We drafted him before Dak Prescott, so we had high expectations. He was fast coming out of the college that he played in. He was one of those guys that was raw in a lot of aspects, but we said, okay, we give him a shot and a chance. And believe it or not, he was showing up pretty good during the offseason, during training camp. And we had all high expectations for him. But at the end of the day, results. I need results. So I'm sitting to myself and I'm thinking, what would the Patriots do? And the reason why I bring it up the Patriots is because they've been the model franchise for the last 10 years. They keep players and they figure out, okay, if this player is worth it, we'll keep him. But if not, then we move on and we leave no sleep left behind. So that's what we need to do with Tap. You know, if Tap is not able to show up this year, then hasta la vista.
That's what it is.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, I watched being an OU fan, obviously, James, I know that immediately makes your blood boil on some level. Being an OU fan, I've seen plenty of Tapper, and I've always liked him as a player, but I don't know. I've never seen him as like an elite kind of guy. Like I can't see him really being like a real, I guess, dog or leader on this defense. I could see him being one of those guys who can be productive if you've got one or two guys kind of ahead of him, which thankfully the Cowboys do. So, you know, maybe he can carve out a role in that regard. I'd like to see him work out, but if he doesn't, the only lamenting I'll have on it will be that he was a 4th-round pick. And ideally you would like to get more out of a 4th-round pick.
Right.
So let's see. So we already talked about Coney Ely. I saw a couple people in the chat who I think are just now joining us asking about that. So did we hear any details on Ely's visit earlier today, or I haven't seen anything on that. I don't know if you guys have.
I didn't really get to dabble deep into it. I just know he came and he kind of left, you know, without a deal. That's the biggest thing that I seen. But, you know, as I said before, I have hope because Alan Hearns came and left and came back. And I just think Ely, it seems like it would be a good situation for Ely on his end because, I mean, you can sign a 1-2 year deal. You're still young. You're only 26 years old. We took chances on George Selvey. I mean, George Selvey came and played with us and got like 7 sacks. What was the other guy that was in the middle? Came from Jacksonville, played good with us for a couple years. Didn't have great numbers, but was decent up in the middle. I can't remember. Oh my gosh, he played a couple years with us. McLean.
Mincy?
Yeah, Mincy.
Mincy, yeah. You're a rapper
DDP,
now.
man. DDP got it, right?
Yeah, I know some. Thank you. I appreciate you. But Mincy, those guys had decent careers with us. So that's why I think Ely should come over and play with the Cowboys because, I mean, hey, Benson Mayo was our leading sack leader, fellas.
Yeah, and he's gone.
And he's not even with the team anymore. And nobody ever is scared of no Benson Mayoa. And he had 5.5 sacks. He led us. I think he had 6.5 sacks. He led us, and he was a part-time player and had got benched for 4 games. So, Ely, you can definitely come in and do some things if Benson Mayoa did.
Yeah. And he referred to 2016 because I know somebody going to try to be the stack munchers out there.
I know. Exact same thing. I was
stack munchers. There they come, no stack munchers.
Yeah, the stack.
Here they come. No, was it? It was 2012, and it was 18
Boy, and then the funny part about it, they love to correct you, but they don't do no videos. No
videos. They're scared to jump out there. Won't be on camera. Won't say nothing. Know every stat. Then put it in front of the camera. They're like, duh.
Just the avatar. No avatar, just the ladder. You know what I mean? Like, man, get you about 2 or 3 videos, man, and then come back and talk to me, man.
Come holler at me, man.
Come holler at me.
It all works out, even if I've had a couple people correct me in the comments before on a couple of videos, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I misspoke. Like I accidentally referred to Lyle Collins previously as right guard. He was left guard. And of course, someone corrected me in the comments, like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no worries. I'll even post like a correction at the start of the next video." I don't know that they care. I don't know that they care, but at the same time, it happens, especially in a live stream. It's bound to happen that you misspeak in some way, or you're not 100% clear. So, it's no trouble. It's no trouble. It's all love anyway.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it'll be all right.
So, which free agent for the Cowboys thus far do you guys think will have the biggest impact?
I don't know. I'm torn between Fleming and Hearns because I really like Fleming for some reason. Like I said, when they talked about him coming to the team, I really liked the addition. But I will probably go with Hearns because it just seems like Hearns has really embraced the Cowboys. I think that's what I think. That's why I think Hearns is. He's been on TV, but it just seems like he's really embracing the Cowboys. He's embracing the star. He wants to really. It looks like he wants to represent the community. Just like he really wants to rep the star. So when you get a player that really wants to rep the star and really want to play, you're going to see some really dynamic playing from him because he's going to feed off it. And I think that's what's kind of tipping me over Fleming. It just seems like he is just really wanting to show and shine with these Cowboys, and I think he will.
Yeah, man. To me, I look at it like this. If an offensive lineman's doing his job, you never hear his name, whereas it's the opposite for a receiver. So I think Fleming is going to be solid for him and stout, but I think you're going to see all the buzz and everything around anything Hearns does. If Hearns comes out and he's a dynamic player in any kind of way, even if it's just working inside and out a little bit, I could absolutely seeing people saying he was the acquisition, even if Fleming could have a really good year. Hell, Fleming could make a Pro Bowl, and I still think people would be like, Allen Hearns, 8 touchdowns. Yeah, that was the best signing right there. So that's just how it goes. I think both are very good signings. I'm happy with both. I just think Hearns will get the glory no matter what, assuming he doesn't tank and bomb. We got you, James? Oh, snap. I'm alone. All right. Well, let's see. You got me, G?
Yeah, let me see if I can get him back in here.
All right.
I'm back, man.
Oh, okay. We got lost. Sweet. We just lost James, so I was all alone.
All alone on the fray by yourself, man. It's all good.
Yep. I was just about to start spitballing anything because I didn't want to get through these topics without you guys.
Yeah, man. Murphy Law always into the flex, man. But it's all good. But neither here nor there, man. What you guys talking about, Hearns? I see his video. I see his picture up there. Look, man, guys, man, what we want to see with Hearns is pretty much this: a sure hand catcher. And then a lot of people saying that he's just average above a T. Will as far as stats, because, the stats monster's going to say that. But if you really look at it collectively, what Allen Hearns could do is not only that you can line him up into the inside, you can also flex him to the outside too as well. So hold on, man. I put it.
Breathe off.
Man, hey, man, look, I'm going to tell y'all, man, Texas weather got me all jacked up. So that's why I sound like Barry White over here. But neither here nor there. The thing is with Allen Hearns, look, man, I look great on the screen, man. But neither here nor there. The thing is with Allen Hearns is the fact that he can line up to the inside, and then, of course, you can flex him out to the outside, too, as well. The thing is, once you could have that ability, you can come up with more schemes and schematics as far as the wide receiver play. And think about this. When you had Cole Beasley out there, it was only one direction he can go, and that pretty much was to the inside or maybe a route to the flats, but that was it, guys. So now that you're talking about being able to put a guy that's in the Z or the flanker position, however you want to call it, you can flex and roll him out, and then you can also have more plays to pattern out to the outside. I'm telling you, man, that is real deal Holyfield, man. That is everything that you would like to see out there in your wide receiver. Now, of course, he's not a guy that can take the top off the defense. But keep in mind that Dante Thompson, he is one of the guys that can take the top off the defense. He's fast. He's elusive. Yes, he's 29, but don't get caught up in that part of it, because I feel that this team will be able to work with the offseason. We'll be able to work with Dak Prescott, and we'll be able to get Dak Prescott in the loop real good.
Yeah, man. So who do you think would have so what we were talking about was the biggest impact for the Cowboys as far as their free agents so far. So James and I were kind of comparing between Hearns and Fleming. I was saying that he was saying it was kind of a toss-up. He leaned towards Hearns. I basically said a good offensive lineman, you're never going to hear his name called anyway. So if Fleming is doing everything great, you're not noticing him so much. Mm-hmm. Whereas Hearns, even if he has like a middle of the road year, say 7 touchdowns or something like that, like a typical number 2 receiver kind of season, mm-hmm. I think he's going to be praised as being like the unquestioned best addition they made in free agency.
Yes, indeed. So if you put him into the system, on that, when you're talking about being able to play and not being seen or not being heard, that's all we
Yeah.
want. When you're
Yep.
talking about an offensive lineman, if you don't hear about him, that's still good,
Yep.
meaning that he's doing his job. How often do we hear about Travis Frederick, or how often do we hear about Zach Martin? You rarely hear
Martin
about
almost
those guys.
never, yeah.
Never. You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, are they even on his team? But they doing their job. And that's what you want to hear about the two as well. You don't want to hear nothing about your safeties. You just want to hear your safeties when they in the mix, when they in the loop. That's the only time you want to hear your safeties, when they catch an interception or what have you. But if you don't really hear about them, that's good news. You know, no news is good news in my opinion. So with that being said, with the Martin guy, what's the guy name? The guard.
Fleming?
No, I can't.
Oh, you're talking Marcus Martin.
Marcus Martin, and I'm gonna get those names mixed up, you know. But with Marcus Martin and Cam Fleming, if these guys can come on the team and just be serviceable enough, be a better Bell or better Chaz Green, then we on the right path from there.
No doubt. I know one lineman I was sick of hearing his name called was Doug Free. Obviously, that's in the past now, but that shows kind of the other side. When you are hearing your offensive lineman's name too much, it's because there's a problem, whether it's a false start or a hold. So no doubt there. So let's talk about some of the departures that we've had. I think really the only recent departure we just had was Bryce Butler going to Arizona on a 2-year deal. Do you think Dallas should have tried to hold on to him, or do you think that's a loss, really?
I mean, the thing is, the groove with that was that, you know, he just talked too wise. You know, you always want somebody who can just hush their mouth and put their results out there or reasonings out there on the field. And by him talking too much, it just kind of made it look like, okay, you're undermining. If I don't know if anybody, if you guys don't read, you know, read this book, 48 Laws of Power. You know, it got laws in there too as well. And one of the major laws, and I'm giving you guys secrets out here. You guys are getting educated now on some stuff that I really don't supposed to tell you, but 48 Laws of Power, it says never undermine the master. And one of the things is you never want to outshine your master too as well. So that's one of the laws. And the thing is, when you have a disagreement or if you have a disadvantage of a view of someone, it's always best to pull them to the side and say, hey, coach, or hey, boss, you know, this is what's going on. Or if not, then you leave silently, because you never know when that door you need to walk back through can open back up for you. And I'm telling you right now, the Dallas Cowboys, the franchise and the organization that they are, they still paying Nate Newton. They still paying Darryl Johnson from time to time. You see him on the show. They put Deion Sanders in the booth. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever he's at. The Dallas Cowboys can reach out. They're like AT&T. They can touch. And when matter of fact, that is the Cowboy Stadium, right?
That is their stadium.
So I'm telling you, man, Jerry Jones got a lot of power that we really don't know. So when you start bumping your gums and you start talking, I won't be surprised that Bryce Butler going out there to the desert. I won't be surprised if he go out there and disappear.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce Butler had already, as you mentioned, he already burned that bridge. I felt like this was a done story for him as far as coming back. 2 months ago when he was on First Take? Mm-hmm. I mean, it felt like a done deal even then. And then you had everything that happened with the Cowboys signing Hearns. Yo, we got James back.
I'm back.
Then we got everything we already have a logjam at wide receiver. So Bryce Butler leaving, that was already a given. And I certainly don't think he was worth bringing back. I think Thompson was brought in to be his replacement, Deontay Thompson. So he had already come back to the Cowboys on a 1-year deal. He didn't want to come back on another 1-year deal. It was just going to be literally whoever offered him a second year, he was going to jump at it. And that second-year option came from the Cardinals, who basically gave him a rookie deal. So if you're talking about a guy who's been in the league, 6-7 years, and he's still at that level, it's not a loss to me. It's not. He made some nice catches. He won us that Arizona game. Fitting he went to Arizona. But stop saying Bryce Butler was a devastating loss for the Cowboys. I've seen people saying that, like that they should have kept him or they're going to regret that. I don't think so. I really don't.
Ain't nobody regretting no damn Bryce Butler going from the
man.
Dallas Cowboys.
No.
I like Bryce Butler. He was a cool dude. I played a lot of his little table meals with everybody. He was cool with Brady James. I like Bryce Butler. He's a cool dude. But Bryce Butler ain't did jack. You know what I'm saying? And even if he had he's had how long he been in the league and he's had opportunities and ain't did nothing. If it looks like a duck, he walks like a duck, he talks like it's a duck. And that's just what it is. He's not going to go to the Cardinals and get 90 catches for 1,300 yards. You know he's not. So just stop. Okay?
Yeah. I think we're talking about a guy who's never had more than I don't even know if he's had 500 yards in a season, any given season of his career. You could tell me he hadn't had more than 350 yards, and I might actually believe you. He's a guy who can give you a once-in-a-while deep shot. Like I said, Arizona, great game on his part. I feel he actually won us that game. But that's one game. He was here 3 years, and in one game, it felt like he was actually a difference maker. So for me, man, it's a non-issue for sure.
Now, for the stat munchers, I do know 2016.
Stat munchers.
He did show up for the 49ers game. He did show up for the Green Bay game.
Please.
I do know the stat munchers. They ready. They got their hands on the Drake say Twitter fingers, but they got their hands on the keyboard. But the thing is, man, hey, it's time out, man, for coddling these little, not A, B, and C, but they like D, E, F, and G's players. So it's time out for that. So what we need to focus on right now is that, okay, the draft is coming around the corner. All right, do we sit there and say, okay, with Dez Bryant, $12 million or $13, whatever $1 million that we paying him, do we go ahead and say, okay, do we eat that and go ahead and just stay with Dez? It's going to be a third year. And then do we try to roll with the Allen Hearns of the world and who else? Switz, Beasley. I mean, we got Noah Brown. We got Lance Lenore. Who else we got out there?
Lenore is a practice squad, guys.
I thought they elevated him up to the starting lineup. I guess that was just for the last game, huh?
Yeah, that was just the last game. So you got Hearns, Dez, Beasley, Switzer, Williams, Deontay Thompson, and there's one more.
Man, you got KD Cannon, who probably come off the practice squad. I don't know. You know, there's there's too many receivers. We like the second overall
Switzer,
highest paid receivers out there.
We
got a high payroll. We got a high payroll.
And I'm telling you, man, receivers don't win you Super Bowls. I'm telling you.
No. And like I said, you've seen with Dez. I mean, when Dez went out, Dak has played good. So it's not like Dak has played bad when Dez has been around. So you don't need a number one. It's been proven you don't need a number one receiver to win a Super Bowl now. You just need a good quality team. You need a good team. You need a good running back. You need a good line. You need a decent quarterback. You need good receivers. That's what you need. You just don't need that one dominant player because it's 11 people on that field, and they all contribute. You can have that great player like an Aaron Rodgers, but he still needs a few pieces to get to a Super Bowl.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about, man. We're talking about receivers, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's just what it is, man. We just need to probably.
So speaking of receivers, what do you guys make of the reports that the whole situation with Dez is basically turning into a Steven versus Jerry on what to do with Dez? What do you make of that?
Go ahead, Law.
Look, to me, I'm just looking at Steven Jones, and he looking like one of those guys that's going to be very cutthroat. He's going to be like, okay, at the end of the day, can we win with him or can we win without him? Or can we get something else that can just be equivalent? And in equivalencies, you know, this is a run-first oriented team. And all we can do as Cowboys Nation wish the best for the receiver, wish the best for the guy. But looking back at it, it may be one of those situations that it's going to be a business move. And it's to me personally, and I'm telling you guys, I know it's not sexy, but to me personally, I would just say, hey, if you don't want to take this pay cut, brother, then there's the door. Because I could do more with defense than I can with a number one or number two, whatever receiver. That's my thoughts.
I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, just like you said, it's not about the number one receiver anymore. I mean, when Dez came in, I ain't gonna lie, I was hyped, got the jerseys. I still love Dez. It's not like I don't love Dez, but after now, I've seen that after the way the NFL has evolved, I mean, you can go to a Super Bowl. I mean, even when Dan Marino, when he went to the Super Bowl his rookie year, he didn't just have one receiver. He had Clayton and Duper. He had a plethora of players that could make plays, and that's how it got him there. It wasn't just one guy on the receiving core that did it. So you can see how many times when we see even the Vikings, I mean, they had Randy Moss, but they still had Chris Carter and Jake Reed. They still had other guys. So you don't need that number one as long as you got good quality receivers and a good – what you really need more than anything, you need a good offensive line. You get a good offensive line, that's going to help you do everything that you need to do because that's going to allow you to make plays because the game is won in them trenches. That's what you need more than anything else is an offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. And, in 2016, the offensive line was downright dominant for Dallas. And that's, I think, what let them kind of skate by with just a simplified offense. They were able just to kind of bully people because it didn't matter if you knew what we were going to do then. They could just punch you in the mouth with the running game over and over until it opened up the passing game. In 2017, the offensive line wasn't near as dominant. We talked about that, how they had a 40% turnover in the offensive line going into the season. And that had an impact. They were still a good offensive line, but they weren't by any means the offensive line they had been, and that limited them, and that put more pressure on Dak, and then the Zeke suspension put it all on Dak at that point, and yeah, he fell apart after the Zeke suspension. Even when Zeke finally came back, he still didn't look as comfortable as before, and that all bases to your point from the offensive line.
There it is. I'm back. You can see me.
Yes, indeed, man. So what's the next topic on the fray, fam?
Let's see. What do you think? What do you think about Cheeto having a big year? A big year, as in one, I would say staying healthy. Two, having let's say 4 interceptions or more.
I mean, the guy was catching on his latter part of the year. And we do know that he was injured or what have you with the hammy. And the hamstring curse is just prominent in Dallas. I don't know what they're doing. But at the same time, if he can get more than 3 interceptions, I'm happy. Dallas Cowboys are really never stingy with the ball. So if he can get more than 3, I'm happy. But I already know he's a dog out there. He's going to be a beast. He's going to step it up. He's going to play with more instinct. But don't sleep on my guy Woods too as well. He may just be that guy, that hidden element for us too as well out there.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I like Cheeto. I mean, I'm a Jordan Lewis guy. That's my guy. I think that's the dude who I love. I think Cheeto is he was never, if you look at his career, he was never a big interception guy at Colorado. So I don't think he's going to be like that in the NFL, but I do think he's going to be a very good, tight corner. You're going to have to really hit windows with him. You're going to really have to be able to throw the ball precisely over him because he's a good coverage corner. And looks like he can cover tight end, and he can tackle real good, so you can play him at a safety position as well. So I think they can use him in multiple positions. They don't just have to keep him on the outside. I think he can play some safety. I was saying that when he came out of Colorado, he could play some safety for us. So look for that they still may try to look to push him there at safety as well. But I don't think he's going to be a high INT guy, but I think he's going to be a very, very good cornerback with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, no doubt. So he actually set a record, I believe it was last year, for a rookie, fewest yards allowed per coverage snap. It was 0.69 yards allowed on his part. So after he finally got healthy, he actually was having a fantastic season. But I agree, he's never been a high interception guy. He's got good hands, so I think he could be better as far as interceptions than he was at Colorado. But that just depends on – I think a lot of that honestly depends on how disruptive our defensive line can be. I think there were ample opportunities last year that our secondary didn't make early on. Part of that's just being a young secondary. Other part of that's just having guys back there who aren't necessarily, don't have great hands, aren't great at intercepting ball. But I could see Cheeto certainly being somewhere in that vicinity where a high year for him would be like 4 picks. I don't see him going north of that. But
no, he ain't going to be that guy that's getting 8-9 picks in a year like a Marcus Peters, anything like that. He's not that dude. I don't think he's ever going to be that dude, but he is going to be, one of those guys that you can really, if he can stay healthy, he's one of those reliable guys. Like on a 3rd and 7, he'll get that big knockdown pass. He'll get that big deflection, sticky corner, or get a big tackle. That's something that I think Cheeto is really going to stand out with more than anything else. I really look to see Jordan Lewis. I think Jordan Lewis can be our guy that can be the guy that can get the picks, because if you look at his career, he was always a guy that was opportunistic with the ball, and he played a receiver. And if you watched him when he was in his younger years, even when he was in high school, he played a lot of receiver. So he has a lot of ball skills. That was the biggest thing with me. I think he's going to be the guy that will get a lot of INTs in the Cowboys secondary going forward, just my opinion.
Fair enough. So this isn't actually a Cowboy here, especially. But, James, I know you got some opinions on it. What do you make of all of the moves by the Rams as of late? Ndamukong Suh, Brandon Cooks, Marcus Peters already mentioned. What do you think of what they're putting together?
Well, one part of me is like, damn. You know what I'm saying? They McVay and them guys, and I like McVay, they ain't over there around there, ain't playing. Yep. And it looks great on paper. But I did make a little excerpt that, we've seen time and time again, teams in the NFL, NBA, they try to get those power teams and try to get, win the championship within 1 year, getting all these free agents, and it blows up in their face. I'm not saying that this can happen, but it can happen, because if you look at the personalities that they are bringing aboard, it's not like they're bringing a bunch of squeaky clean guys that never got in trouble in the NFL. Talib has been in mad trouble in the NFL, suspended. Then you got Peters, who was the reason why he was probably traded was because he was a head case. He was a problem over there at Kansas City. You saw, and he was a problem at the University of Washington. That's why he dropped, because of his flags in college. We already know it's been well documented with Ndamukong Suh. You lose Ogletree, who was one of the top linebackers, and he was a leader. So now you get talent, but I feel like you lose leadership. So where's the leaders going to come when it's a tough game and people blow up? And who's going to calm Talib down? Who's going to calm Peters down? That's what it looks like to me more than anything else. That, yeah, it looks great on paper, but that don't mean it's going to work on the field.
True that. Law, what you got?
Man, the thing is with the Rams, they had that cookie cutter powder puff schedule last year, and everybody's jumping on the Rams case. We'll see. And I'm not trying to just throw shade or salt at the Rams, but we'll see this year. And then you got all this non-continuity. It takes time for football players to develop with the consistency with playing with each other. So we'll see, man. It looks good on paper, though. It looks good on paper.
Looks great on paper.
I like what I'm seeing from them, just in the sense that as good as they were last year, and they were probably one of the biggest surprise teams of last season, and they're not content. That's the thing I look at now. As we said, what decisions they made, they may work out, they may not, but they weren't content just thinking, give us another year of experience and we'll be even better. That's what the Cowboys do. That's what we did in 2016. We changed almost nothing. We changed the secondary. I mean, offensively, we changed almost nothing, tried to come back with essentially the same thing, and it didn't have near the impact. This time, they're trying to make some things happen. I like what Dallas is doing, but I do have, on some level, a little bit of admiration for the Rams. Just you would think the Rams are literally in the dying days of a championship window with the moves they're making. But, sometimes that's how you got to be. If you're a franchise that some people said overachieved last year, then why not go for it? If you think it's there for the taking, go for it, especially with a team that young and you're not paying a lot to your quarterback, your running back, or any of your other essentially key skill players at that point. So why not?
Hell yeah, they got a 5th-year option for Gurley, and they got a 5th-year option for Goff, so they can just spread this thing out. They got a larger window than the Cowboys, believe it or not. We don't have a 5th-year option for Dak. And even the Eagles, they can do the same thing too as well if you look at it collectively. They got a 5th-year option for Wentz. So we don't have a 5th-year option for our guys. So, of course, we got a 5th-year option for Zeke. But let's be real. The quarterback is everything.
No doubt. So I think we've pretty much hit the end of our run sheet here. Law, how about we just kind of bring it on home tell them about where they can find you and everything. And I know James is pressed for time and all that, so let's.
I ain't trying to be.
People.
I love all y'all. I ain't trying to be, but I gotta pick the lady up. You know what I'm saying?
No, man, no worries at all, man.
Please forgive me.
No, man.
Trouble at all, man. We've hit the end of the run sheet that we drew up, so I think we're at a good point. We just be riffing at this point anyway, so. Right,
man. Hey, we've been in here for over an hour, and I apologize from the start, man. Look, I do know that my guy Jay Farm says system well immunity. I'm going to go try that out, but hey, I'm allergic to grass, man. Hell, so it's just one of those things where it's pollen in the air and everything. I'm always going to be coughing and stinging until I get adjusted to Texas weather. But outside of that, guys, man, I really appreciate it. I love you guys for tuning in. Shout out, just give a quick shout out to everybody. I know you got to go, big game, but I need to give a quick shout out to D. Will, Maxwell. Shout out to you two as well. Adapa Japa New, I think that's how you say your name. Juice 21, Sushi 817. Salute to you. See, I'm gonna cough again.
Look, you about to cough again, man.
Hey, hey, man. Hey, man. I sound like an old wino or drunk over here, man, or somebody been smoking 30 cigarettes. But it is what it is, man. I really appreciate you guys, man. Mike, D, Delta Boy 2011. Shout out to all y'all, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hey, it is what it is. I really thank you guys for tuning in. That's been my time. I really thank you guys for yours. Don't forget to follow Laws Nation at Facebook, Laws Nation at Instagram too as well. And you guys know where to find me at lawsnation.com. Well, not at lawsnation.com, ddallasprospect.com. Go out there, support the new website. It's wet, it's neat, it's fresh. Go out there and support the website. And that's all I have, guys. Go ahead. Big game.
Hit it, James.
Well, I'm just going to give a shout out to everybody who was listening and watching like they always do. Ron, Annette, Terry, Micah, who's Bam, Jawan, so many names out there, Katina, just everybody that was in there, Raymond. Just appreciate everybody that was in there listening like y'all always do. Check us out on Silver and Blue Nation. You know how we do every Sunday at 6:30, around 6:30. Coach J Film Day. Go and check us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Big Game James page. I mean, you know what it is. And then, you know, Dallas Prospect, we all doing a collab. So it's all day, every day. Just make sure and check us out. We're going to always keep on coming out with some hot content all day, every day. And you better stay in tune because there's big things coming up.
No doubt. And as they've already mentioned,
Producer G. Let me give him a shout.
Hell yeah, man. Producer G, man.
He's Voltron. I don't need to give a shout out for no Producer G. He's Voltron. He forms the head.
No doubt. Yeah, so like they said, you know where to find the site, thedallasprospect.com, your home for Dallas sports and pop culture. Shout out in the chat to Charles Edwards and Cowboys Nation 777, as well as everyone else on the Facebook page. I was on that earlier. I clicked away from that, admittedly. Follow us on Twitter at Dallas Prospect, and be sure to just support the channel and everything. Support and subscribe to Law Nation, Silver and Blue Nation. If you're in town in Plano, Texas, for the first night of the draft, April 26th, it's a Thursday, we will be back in action again at Mexico Restaurant and Club, where we were this past month. We'll be doing another live show for the entire first round of the draft. I think we're going to be live streaming the whole thing on that, talking about, Cowboys picks, what we think they should do, and then ultimately breaking down what they go with. So that should be fun as well. If you guys want, come out and join us, have a drink, support us. And until next time, man, we'll just see you guys this following Wednesday.